Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I am Jordan. Now, here's the deal. We are going to do a head-to-head comparison. Again, blind, best I can. This will be glass B, C, and D of the Rebel lineup that I own, okay? I do not have the Rebel Yell, the 80 proof, whatever. I've had a bottle of that in the past. It's actually not a bad whiskey. Kind of a fan of that. But we are coming off the heels of the Deanston 12, the Classic Lottie, and the Octomore 13.3 reviews. I've given myself about 10, 15, that's a lie, about 10 minutes here to try and get away from the Octomore a little bit because that smoke is still kind of lingering, a little bit of water here. And I don't really want that to impact too much what we got going on here with the Rebel lineup. But we have Rebel 100 coming in, 100 proof. We have, and I do not know, let me quickly look, see if there is, so Rebel is a wheated bourbon, FYI, for Luxco. It says bottled and aged in Kentucky, bottled for Luxco Distilleries in Bardstown. There is not a an age statement on the Rebel 100. The Rebel 10 is 10-year-old age stated single barrel coming in at 100 proof also. So both of these are 100 proof. Then we have the Rebel Cask Strength single barrel, which is ringing in at 120 proof, 60% ABV. And this is a store pick for Mr. Liquor for 2023. Let's see, barrel number 775-7209. And the barrel was filled on 8/18/2017. So there you go. We're going to do these head to head. Like I said, we're coming off we've had a little bit to drink so far. Some actual proofy whiskeys. But we're not gonna let that stop us. Here's what I'm gonna do. If I put this here, is that gonna be that's going to be a problem. So we're going to put them over here. And again, we're going to pour them. And then after we pour them, we're going to mix them up. I'm not going to pay attention. Again, I don't really care who wins, what wins, or how it wins. All I care is that whatever I think tastes the best at the time that I do the comparison is the winner. I have no reason to choose one thing over another or I don't have a bias towards any of these in particular. So if this was bottled in 2023, 2017, what's that make this? This is 6 years old. So 6 years old for the cask strength, 10 years old for the 10-year-old. I don't know. Let's see. Kentucky straight. So straight means that it's at least 2 years old. So this could be anywhere from 2 years plus. All right. Okay, so now we're just going to mix these up. And of course, like I've said in the past, I don't really pay attention. I'm not trying to remember which one's which or who's where or whatever. I'm sure if you're watching what's going on, you probably know which one's which. I don't really look at the labels or anything like that because I don't care. I just want to know that this one out of the lineup tastes the best to me. So that's what we're doing. I have them by proof or age or whatever in the lineup. So Rebel 100 was glass B. Glass C is 10-year-old but still 100 proof. And D is the cask strength. So if I tip up the glass and for some reason you can read the bottom of it and you can see it, just know I personally am not looking at it to see what it is. So first thing I'm gonna go through and nose all of them, and we'll kind of pick one out based on nose. Very cherry forward, corn dust. It's not unpleasant, but it is very, very cherry. Like a Luxardo cherry and brown sugar forward. And some corn dust. It's not unpleasant at all. I like that. Same exact nose here, just turned down a fair bit. There's almost a little bit of confectioner sugar on this. I would say the nose on this is more dense as far as the nose, the nosing notes are more hefty than on this one. And on this, again, across the line, there is no mistaking. These are all in the same vein of whiskey. They all smell very, very similar. This is probably the lightest of the three, I think. I take that back. The middle one is the lightest of the three as far as heft, but the nose is so similar. And these two in particular are very, very similar. So if I had to guess, this is just off the nose. Nothing's blowing me away as far as ethanol, so the cask strength's not jumping out. But I would say this has the lightest nose. I'm guessing this is the 100. This is based off of just how dense the nose is. This is the 10-year. I reserve that. This is the cask strength. This is the 10-year. This has the densest nose. That's why I'm thinking it's a 10-year. And I feel like there's more ethanol coming out of the glass in this than this. That's just a guess. Okay, so like I said, man, dense. It just smells like it has age on it. It's a dense cherry, a dark chocolate. The ethanol's not really dominating or even a factor. It's just cherry, dark chocolate, dark brown sugar, almost a molasses. And that's kind of it. So on the taste, here we go. Very simple. Sweet forward, brown sugar, cherry. There's an oak spike at the end, and then like a softness that you can only attribute to wheated bourbon. Kind of in the middle. It's a simple flavor profile. I will say the flavors are not as dense as the nose, but still fairly hefty. I feel like that's the 10-year. In the nose, very light. Same exact profile as that. Where it's cherry. This has a little more confectioner sugar in it. It's a little more light and airy on the nose. Ooh, I mean that just, I won't say it drinks like water, but it drinks like water. And the fact that it is so easy to drink. It carries flavor with it. I'm not saying it's water like there's no flavor. I'm saying water that is just super easy to drink, super smooth. Uh, Ethanol does not show up till the end. Very sweet forward honey vanilla. Kind of a light brown sugar. A little bit of like floral cherry in there, and then a little bit of oak on the finish. Very pleasant. Now, how do you rank these? Now, from a simplicity, ease of drinking standpoint, this middle one beats this first one. However, this first one has a denser, heftier amount of flavor. But there's 3 or 4 notes in this. There's like 2 notes that dominate here. This is more cherry, this is more corn. I like both flavors. Man. This is tough. This is very, very tough. I'm going to leave them even with each other for now. We'll see what they do when they go back. Okay, this glass and this glass smell very, very similar. I just catch a little more ethanol around the edges of the flavor of the nosing profile. But I mean, it is brightly, it's almost effervescent. It's a light cherry floral forward, almost pushing into an apple, but definitely still in the cherry lineup. Sweet honey, almost a honeysuckle on that floral. A little bit of grain dustiness on the back end, but then ethanol. I still think this is the cask strength, but this one, because of the heft, makes me want to believe that it's the cask strength, but it's not hitting proof wise. So let's see how this tastes. Proof wise, not really hitting, except for I kind of took a breath at the wrong time and went retro nasal on me. That made it more proofy, and now the proof is kind of coming forward, but it is hitting in the exact same vein as this, where it is. I mean, it really is the same cherry, the same floral, the same oak, the same grain dust, and the same sweet components coming together. I'm sticking to it. I'm gonna go 10-year, 100, and cask strength. That's my guess. Could be completely wrong. That's the only one that's hitting with a little bit of proof. But for something that's 120 versus 100, it's not hitting like 100. Like none of these hit like 120. Okay? So let's just start there. None of these are very proof forward at any point in the flavor profile. I believe this is the most proofy out of all of them, potentially. We'll see what happens when we go back through. And this has the densest flavor profile, which, okay, hear me out. If this is the 100, it's at least 2 years, more like 4 years probably. This is the cask strength. We know that this one's 6 years. Versus 10 years, the density and heft of flavor. Yeah, I'm sticking with my original. 100 cask, 10-year. Man, sweet honeysuckle. Like a light syrupy caramel. Floral. The cherries kind of lingering in the light fruit maraschino, more leaning into a cherry blossom. But it's still there, a little bit of oak. A little bit more. This still has a little bit more ethanol around the edges also. Now I'm talking myself into this, but could be right, could be wrong. But that's just how it's coming across on the taste. Okay, that time, man, it drank same as these other two. It drank like 100 proof. Sweet, sugar, confectioner sugar, light brown sugar up front, then a honey, then a floral component, but then, and this might be a product of having just drank water beforehand, but a bitter tannin came through on the finish, along with the proof. It also might be just the fact that I had a second sip, but normally just that lingering water on your tongue, it's going to fracture that profile. It's going to break apart those oils. It's going to bring that oak tannin forward, that bitterness forward. And that's what it seems to have done, making that less sweet on the finish going back. But still sticking with that one being the Cask strain. Oh my gosh, that smelled exactly. I mean, exactly like coffee with the caramel, uh, flavor shot spray. The clear liquid stuff, artificial flavored caramel in it. I mean, to a T, that's what it smelled like. Was coffee with that. I get almost a little bit of eggnog and pumpkin spice going in this. This is nothing like what I just experienced. Nothing. Um, but extremely pleasant and extremely sweet. That is interesting, man. I'm getting just a little bit of chocolate covered cherry on the back end out of my right nostril. Man, that was an awesome smelling experience, but nothing like the first go round. No ethanol whatsoever being in the edges or anything like that. Coming off of this, that is very subdued, simple, like a simple caramel, light syrup up front. Honey, there's still a bitter tannin carrying through. I'm almost wondering if that's my tasting experience with this impacting that. Or it's a bitter tannin oak on the tongue. Um, Man, do I dare take another sip of water before moving on? I don't know. I think with each sip of water, it's going to bring that bitterness forward a little bit more, and I don't want to do that. So, man, on the nose between these two, that was phenomenal on the nose to start with. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. This is a light, simple. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put this one slightly ahead than the cat. That's what we're doing for now. And again, the two are impacting each other. Ooh. Okay. This was chocolate covered cherry cordial. There's like there's a dark chocolate, a cherry, but like it's chocolate covered cherry. It's like a fake cherry syrup, that middle part of the cherry cordial thingy that's there, and then there's a brown sugar. A vanilla and a honey coming on the back end, coming into a sweet caramel. Once again, this has the densest nose of any of them. Though all those flavor nosing profile notes are like 5x of these two. Man, they're good. They're good. If you get all three of these, if you can get your hands on all three of these, by all means, do it. Before we reveal which ones are which, we're going to go through and read the price tags on these, just kind of give you an idea of where we're at here. This 10-year was pretty hefty. I would not buy that again for the price that I paid. Smells good though. Whatever, I think this is 10, but man, is it dense. It's good. This is tough. This is very tough because each of them shine in their own way for its own characteristics more than the other. For pure drinkability and enjoyment, this one's winning. For heft of flavor, Now that time this had dark chocolate, dark cherry, like very viscous cherry. The sweetness is tamped down. The bitterness of the oak is cranked up a little bit, but does not match the density of the cherry. And by that, they balance each other out and make a very enjoyable sip out of it. There is more grain dust on both of these. This is still the densest flavor profile. This, I think, would appeal to the most people. This still has the most heat, and that, if that is the 10-year, there's just better whiskey at the same price point and far below that price point. That's all that comes down to. But that is good, and that is good. So, here we go. Let's look at prices to start with. Luxco. So, here locally, I can get Rebel Yell, which is the 80 proof, for $13.99. That's $14. The Rebel 100, $19.79. So call it 20. The 10-year single barrel, $92.59. So almost $93 for a single barrel. And that's the price you pay for a single barrel. I'm going to say you run a huge risk with a single barrel. Probably is a bad word. You might get a very different experience than I did out of a single barrel. The Cask strength, which is a store pick, was $54.99, so $55. Which, being a store pick, Cask strength, single barrel, again, you might get a completely different experience, a much better or a much worse experience. But for what it is, a single barrel, a store pick at Cask strength, and again, I have not added water to this to water it down at all. $55 is not a bad price for an exploratory whiskey. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way. So we're at $55, $93, and $20. All right, here we go. So what did I pick? So this is number 1, 2, and 3. I mean, man, again, they're all kind of the same. I think this is going to be 3, 2. So 1, 2, and 3. So this one is C, which is indeed the 10-year. So got that one. This B, which is the Rebel 100, nailed that one. That makes this one the Cask strength. Nailed that one. So, most expensive, least expensive, middle of the run. 20, 50, what did I say? 55, 20, 55, 93. The $20 one, again, this is my flavor profile, which to me, it's easier sipping, it's sweeter, less tannic notes, might appeal to more people. $20, that's excellent. The 10-year, very expensive. There is a lot of bottles you can buy for less than $93. However, the heft and density of that for my bottle, it was super good. I can see why a lot of people rave about it. That might not be your experience. It's a big chance to take, and that's a lot of money. So value-wise, probably not the best value, but pretty good. The Cask strength for $55. It's exploratory, so we could put water into this, proof it down, see what it does. It could be pretty phenomenal. It's a store pick. Store picks, it all depends on who's picking it for the store, how well you trust them, how good their palate is. Did they just say, "Hey, bottle it and put our name on it," or did they do a panel where there was, 2, 3, 4, 5 people tasting stuff? And normally when they do that, the reps might bring 3 barrels to choose from, or 5 barrels to choose from, or something like that. So you're still limited as to what you can get, but if the people are really good at what they're doing, you can get some really nice flavor profiles going. And I would say for this one, I don't know. It kind of feels like they just slapped a name on it. These two seem like they're the exact same thing, only this is proof down. So from that, as far as the consistency, nailed it. But this is supposed to be older than this. Um, it's not a bad barrel by any means. Maybe we'll do that in the next video. Maybe we will explore this a fair bit, drop by drop on a full pour, just to see what we get. Because I think this has a lot of potential. So density, heft of flavor, maybe not the best value, but still a darn good whiskey. This is, if this is $50, 10 years, 6 years, 4 years difference, $90, maybe $65, $70. Okay. A store pick at $50. So a non-store pick might run you $50, $45. This is a much better value. Also, you might get a little bit more age on the barrel with a store pick. Hard to say. But best value out of the lineup is, good, sweet, solid flavor profile. Doesn't really leave you wanting anything when you compare them. I mean, 10 years versus that density, it's not really a fair comparison. A lot more corn on this. Um, these two are not really a fair comparison, but mass flavor profile, that's super good. This is more of a whiskey drinker's whiskey where if you want to explore something, a nerd whiskey drinker's whiskey where you want to explore it, take it apart, do all the hum 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 hum. That might be more in your wheelhouse. But man, as far as just a good solid whiskey, has nothing to hide, no faults. Rebel 100, go check it out. And this bottle is actually fairly old. I think I picked it up 2 years ago. And as brands get more popularity, things change, and you never know. And consistency changes from year to year as well. So keep that in mind. So there you go. That is my lineup. Number one for me was just straight up standard Rebel Yell. Sorry, Rebel 100, not Rebel Yell. Rebel Yell is the 80 proof. The 10-year took second place, but you could argue it would be first place if you used different parameters. The cash strength fell out for me as the bottom of the three. However, not bad, no faults. Definitely going to explore it a little bit. It's something that as you proof through it and change it a little bit, yeah, you're probably going to find a lot more in this bottle. I mean, it's not even a fair comparison other than they're the same brand label, because they are bringing different things to the table, but none of them are lacking. How about that? The only one that's lacking is the value here. I mean, you can get man, is that a single barrel product? So I can get I was gonna say Old Forester. I just looked at my picture. Let me bring up my. So as you all know, I'm a huge Old Forester fan. And locally at the cheap liquor store. Now this is phenomenal. Provided what things have been previously. But at the cheap liquor store here in town, and I might have to go buy some replacement bottles. So the price of standard Old Forester due to inflation and all the other components of shipping and all that crap has increased, right? So this started the 86 and the 100 proof standard, the 100 proof signature label Old Forester was, when I started, it was like $18. Now it's up to $23.49. The 86 is $21.09. Okay, but here's where things get interesting. The 1870 original recipe is $37.39, but the 1910 and the 1920, the new labels, the 1910 they have for $45.39. Now that's been in the upper 50s and 60s everywhere for the last 2 years. So to see it at 45 bucks, awesome. 1920, again, new label, $49.09. Great price. Again, been in the upper 50s and 60s for the last couple of years. Those fall right in the same lineup as these as far as prices. And I feel like, again, if you watch the channel, you know 1910 is kind of my jam. Although when I did my Old Forester head-to-head, the Signature 100 beat everything. And again, that comes down to approachability, easy drinking. You don't need to be a nerd to really appreciate it. Like sometimes those tobacco, tannins, those harsher flavors, you kind of have to be a nerd to appreciate and tease what you like or don't like. And a lot of people will taste it, and even if they can't pick out the flavor, they'll be like, ugh, I don't like that. They like sweeter things. And so that's why I picked that. The other great news for me, sorry, not for you, is the Bowman Brothers, which if you can't find Buffalo Trace, go find either Blade and Bow or Bowman Brothers. Great alternatives. If you're a Buffalo Trace fan, also I think it's better. Both of those are better. $32.89 for Bowman Brothers here for the small batch. Totally worth it. Those are good bottles. So there you go. And the Blade and Bow they also have for $45.49. Not a bad price on that. So there you go. 1, 2, 3. That's my head-to-head review of Rebel. Hope you appreciate it. Drop in the comments down below what you can find these bottles for in your area, knowing full well cask strength, single barrel, store pick. You're not going to have that, but if you can find cask strength in your area, let me know. Also, any experience you have with it, which one's your favorite and why? Or if you don't like any of them, let me know. As always, thanks for watching. You guys have yourselves a great day. This is the last video I'm going to do for a little while. So this will be going up on BitchUte, I don't know, like a week or two before Christmas. Probably take Christmas off if you're watching on YouTube. Lord help you, it'll be a while before you see this, but it'll be maybe before Christmas 2024. So there you go. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great day. We'll catch you in the next video whenever that happens to be.